right. Whilst we have people joining, um, uh, what we are going to do, we're going to start our Slido to get the conversation going. So here are the instructions. Let me show this. Let me bring this up a little bit more. And we are going to be using a Slido throughout. So it's good that we have, let me put it here. And all right, so go to slido.com, mark the code. You know how it works. I think already we have. I think my colleague Javier will also share the link, and then we can start getting some inputs, because this is as much a meeting and a session to learn than to broadcast what we have put together. What we have put together, we will tell you and we will share with you. But we have an amazing opportunity now to share with more professionals in the bubble what we are seeing in our daily jobs and what we are
Hola,
seeing
hola, hola.
in Brussels. Hello, hello. All right. So let me check how many people we are bringing. This is a little bit a bit more crowded than our usual lunch and learns is going to be, but we're gonna keep it civil. We're gonna keep it very, very civic. Hello, Matil. So many familiar faces. Hello, Matil. It's been a while. Sophie.
Hi, yes, it's been a while and it's so good to see you again. Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello. Joxen, hello, hello. It's been a while. How's it going?
Hi, I'm just walking back home, so I'll join with video soon.
If
Great to
you
see you.
if you happen to be in Blux, you will find Brett standing outside.
I know, I just passed by, but I gotta go home. I'll join during my lunchtime, as we say.
All right. So, hello everyone. Like, please make sure that you start sharing your communications trends, because, like I said, this is as much as a place where we want to learn, more than we want to, or in addition to us broadcasting what we have done together, and we will have enough time for that. Atomization of channels and audiences, rebuilding, maintaining communities, huge, huge challenge, huge opportunity, especially for comms people. I think it makes our work more relevant and more important than before. To be more purposeful in policy comms, not just for the sake of comms. Exactly why I always remember the learnings from one of our previous sessions. All of them were very insightful, but in one of them they said exactly that usually the policy comms or communications was perceived as the last piece in the work. And I say, I have done this policy report, just go and tweet it about it, and just do a press release. And now we are like being more like, okay, we need to manage and to think about the strategic role and the narrative of our communications, and we will do things that support that narrative. Like, we have to be more strategic, more purposeful. I completely agree. Everyone who is joining, we're just having an initial chit chat for will be like for a couple of more minutes to make sure that everyone has time to join before we start with the session. You know how to do it. You go to slido.com, you use this code, and you will be able to share your trend for today, because we have selected 10 trends, but we could have we could have a million of them. And the idea is that we all come together and learn from each other. So feel free to go and share the one that is more important for you before we unveil our own 10 threads. Okay, we will not probably we will not be rediscovering the wheel, but align the channels we use with organizations' values. Interesting, especially Katerina in the age of where ownership of those platforms is becoming so important. We will talk about that today. A lot of AI, a lot of X, we will talk about that. We have, it's one of the challenging ones, to be honest. Vertical video, it's everywhere. Even I was checking on my LinkedIn just before, and video is now fully rolled in, and I get like notification to go and check video on LinkedIn. So I think vertical video, but video overall, is really the one key trend, definitely. All right. We are gonna begin now. We're gonna keep this. We're gonna keep Slido throughout the presentation. You can use it to send your questions. You can also use the Zoom message, the Zoom chat. Feel free to, this is an intimate. This is gonna be like an intimate, and very informal meeting, like the ones we usually host for our community, our usual lunch and learns. It's just gonna be a little bit more crowded, but that's gonna be okay. All right, so welcome everyone to the launch of our very first sort of report. We know that there is no shortage of policy comms trends in the bubble, but we wanted to add our perspective, not by going to our own silo and thinking what are the trends that we are seeing, but actually looking at the members in our community who are becoming or who are doing a lot of thought leadership, and asking them what they are seeing. And we've done a lot of rounds of surveys, and we have a lot of conversations. And so the result is going to be this report and these trends. Some of the people who author these trends, although this is more than individual takes, we're trying, of course, we recognize the people who are behind those trends and we want to give them visibility, but this is more like they do it because they see that it is something bigger than themselves, that is something that they see everywhere. It's not only in their own, in their own space, or in their own interest to do so. Um, you know who we are. We're the European Campaign Playbook, and we have two things in common. We are communication professionals who care about Europe, who are pro-Europeans in the mainstream sense. We believe European values are worth defending, and we want to communicate them through our organizations. And the second thing is that we love to have fun, and we love to learn and network, and that's what our community is about. We also want to do this in a way that is affordable, that is like tailored to what we see we need every day in our day-to-day work, and also not doing alone, but do it with other people, just like we have done today. What we do, very simple, at the end of every month, our members vote for a topic. This month was policy comms, and then the team, including myself, we curate content, which can be master classes, conversations, events in Brussels for the next month. We are not strict about the month. It could be 6 weeks. It could be always depending on the quality of the content. And then we also have an excuse to meet and to learn, to grow. And the idea is that at the end of the month, Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I think I was out for a while, no? Okay. I don't know what happened. Uh, but I wanted to just say that we do a lot of training, we do a lot of networking, we have a lot of fun, and if you are interested, feel free to join and to ask about how you can become part of this community. Okay, if now like everything was frozen on my side, so I will just skip and going directly to this policy comms trends report. Um, there are a few things that I want to say, which is the everything that and everyone that has been included in this report is voluntarily. Like we have actually looked for the people that we admire, and we are happy to showcase what they've done and their best practices. But by no means we are being paid to do this. This is not promotional in any sense. This is genuinely things that we want, that we have seen, that we want to see. Of course, and that's why we also make it available for free for everyone. And you will get the copy and the recording after this event. Okay. So that's, I think I wanted just to say this, very important. And the moment has come, which is to unveil the trends. Okay, so those are the 10 trends that we have put together. Uh, what I like about it, like there is an over representation of digital, and I think that's where more things are happening. But we also have a space for offline and for what we call the physical policy experience. There is also some work for internal audiences, because we talk always about digital and external, but we also wanted to look at offline and internal. And of course, there is AI. There is AI. People are more, I as not are not as hyped as myself or Giovanni, who is here with us on AI, but it is still a thing, and there is of course a place in our policy comms trends. So what I wanted to ask, especially for those who have joined right now, is to actually tell us which of these trends, I will put them again, which of these trends are the most important for you. And you can vote on the Slido that we shared before, and you can also find them here. So you can vote for, I think you can only vote for one. We wanted to really make you think. And yeah, and you can vote. You can vote now. Go to slido.com with this code, and you can vote on the one that is more relevant to you. Okay, so first ones are coming in. All right, look at the internal audiences ones. Often overlooked, Ingrid. Often overlooked. And look at that. Look at that. I'm so happy that we have also had a chance to talk about this today. Look at this. Yeah. LinkedIn becoming the king goes on a close second together with AI. Clearly, not everyone is as hyped as I am, but I do. I mean, I do agree that. There are more things going on in your usual advocacy or trade association in Brussels than just AI. And this is the best. Okay, perfect. We're gonna leave it there. You can keep voting. We can show the results later, but it is interesting that no one talks about internal audiences. Or no one talks. Not there is not enough talk about this, and probably this is a thought for the future. Like maybe we should do more of this in the future, given that it's so relevant. Okay. All right, back to our presentation. Um, the way we're gonna do this is we have some guests who are behind each of these some of these trends, And I think we have four today, 4 out of 10. Well, including myself would be 5 out of 10. And we're gonna go through not strictly in order because we understand some people need to leave a little bit earlier. And then we're gonna go through them, and then we will have a Q&A part where everyone will be invited to participate. Okay. And we're gonna go with the first one with Brett Covey, which is a very special one about building physical policy experiences, and he's done something quite remarkable in Brussels. But I'm gonna hand over to him. So please, Brett, tell us a little bit about this trend and and what we should learn from it.
Cool. Thanks, Sebastian. Thanks, everybody. Our event here today went a bit late, so I have some background noise. Hopefully it's not too bad. If it is, just tell me to shut up. But the physical policy experience, I think, is something that has been around for a while. They're really just events. And I think Brussels is really an event town. The EU bubble likes that. People like to be together with their community. And I think, yeah, the past year has been maybe the time when we start using the term a bit more. And I think one thing that really helped was something that ASEA did, the auto industry. We worked together on a pop-up space in the on Place Lux, where we are now in this space. It's gone now. Now it's more just it's bumps space for a little bit now, in between things that we're doing here. But I think the idea is just to bring people into the policy story a bit, exhibitions, things that they can touch and feel, things that go a little bit further than the panel. And yeah, the term actually policy experience, we definitely saw it used elsewhere. As usual, the tech companies invented things, just like we think they invented policy communications as a term, because they had all these comms people and they needed to differentiate between corporate policy, internal, all that kind of stuff. So they created policy communications, which we actively stole, and it's we've all been using, which is great. When we all say policy communications, we all get paid more. So remember that. Right? That's a professionalization of our discipline, which is really important. And talking about policy experiences, I think, is also a good sign to our internal audiences to say that we don't just want to do events. We want to do events that work harder. We spend all this time on these things. They just need to deliver on different levels, right? Can they deliver the content that we need in vertical video, right? Whatever. Can the panel discussion be more video friendly? Can we have many more smaller events instead of one big event that we're always doing, right? And how can we bring people in and use the 1-2 minutes that we have with them so that they walk away actually feeling something? Feeling something in Brussels is something that you don't really do much, right? You're not supposed to go somewhere and feel an emotion other than boredom, right? That's what you expect, and you're waiting for the networking drinks, right? So what if actually during the experience you enjoyed it? That's a little bit the idea. Yeah, so big change in how we talk about things in the past year, which has been great. And we're happy to be part of, jumping on this trend with everybody else, and hope that it stays a trend next year too. That was
And tell us more. Of course, we couldn't have Maria with us, but she is also co-authoring this trend together with you, and also like some images of what you guys did in this space. Tell us more about this, about how it was to work with a trade association and then bring this whole thing. What were the challenges to bring this alive?
Well, I mean, when you have people like Maria who are ready to just, experiment, it's pretty easy. But also, this particular project was incredibly hard. So
Yeah.
we had to take over the old ING Bank on Place Lux. That's what this is now. If you want to go to the old vaults, you still can. It's now the basement where we store things. The photo you see on the screen is this space right here. You can see there's no, that's not here anymore, but that big screen persists. If you look out these windows, you'll see, well, you can't see because I'm too low, but the Parliament's over there. And I think excellent collaboration. And we all knew that we were doing something, okay, that hadn't really been done in Brussels because it's very difficult from a real estate point of view to do. But of course, experiential marketing or pop-ups, they exist in the wider world, right? They have for decades probably. And I think we kind of had to figure out together what kind of story we wanted to tell, how we could bring members in, because members have a lot of technology. We had an EV next to a combustion engine, so people could actually touch both of them, which was, you know, really unique thing that I've never been able to do, to see one next to each other, and then to tell a story around that, bring people in, bring MEPs from across the street to do that. So I think what we saw was just a combination of a lot of people wanting to experiment and doing something that really felt different. And Aseo was an awesome partner for that. And we're really thankful that they jumped into this idea with us, and likewise, and we kind of co-financed you know, this space. So for everyone to use, right? For money, just be clear, because we have to pay the rent for 3, 6, or 9 years. That's involved. But you know, I think, you know, also to say a policy experience does not have to happen in a space like this. This should happen everywhere. Everything should be an experience. And I think even with the smallest budget, or in the, you know, the most awkward of places, you can create an experience just by figuring out what happens on the stage, how you program a panel, how you just try to make it a little bit more interesting, and push your featured speakers harder, push the people inside your organization harder. The Aseo team worked really hard to deliver over 30 events across 6 weeks, which was insane. And I think no one would recommend that anyone else do that again. But it's totally doable to make people think, feel, or do something beyond the ordinary with literally any budget. It just is just a challenge to your creativity to work within those constraints.
Awesome. Thank you, Brett. And indeed, it doesn't have to happen there. Like usually it is also an opportunity to do this inside the European Parliament. And they're like, and hopefully we can start taking over the street in Brussels a little bit more. So thank you so much, Brett, for this. And hope to see you soon, probably next week in your space.
Hit me up. See you, man.
All right, so the next one, we're gonna jump from 1 to 10. And actually, it wouldn't have been better to do this because I want to remind everyone that I think this internal comms came finally on top. I just want to double check because it's definitely one of the top 3, and it's often overlooked. Not here, not today, and definitely not with Ingrid. So we know, Ingrid, you have an appointment later, so we have moved you now. Later we will continue with the order of trends. But now, Ingrid, please, the floor is yours. Tell us why you thought above everything else that everyone came up with, why you came up with this idea of internal audiences becoming even more important this year.
Well, I have to say that I would not have expected it to be in the top 3, because indeed, usually, you know, people, organizations tend to forget that they have internal audiences. And internal audiences, it can be so many things. It can be, of course, your colleagues, because they are part of your organization, and regardless of the size of your organization. But it can also be your members and your stakeholders, your internal stakeholders. And we always forget about them. But there is one thing that I truly believe is that if you do not have their endorsement, if you do not have their support, you will never really have success, because you need these people to be your ambassador. They need to be the ambassador not only of, you know, your strategy, your communication strategy, your policy strategy, but you need to make them proud. And they can help you in so many ways. They can help you with creating content, with providing you, you know, small things like pictures and visuals and videos. They can fact check documents. They can comment, share, and like all your posts on LinkedIn, X, etc., etc. And it's crucial that they really support you. And if they become the ambassadors of your organization, you will succeed because they will simply be proud. And I think we tend to often see that when you don't have their support, it cannot really work out. And you can even feel it, you know, in the way that you publish or in people's mood, or you just see it. So I have to say, for me, it's true that I've discussed this and I said that it's a trend for 2025. But to be honest, I think it should be a trend for every year. And as far as I'm concerned, I was always fascinated with internal communications. And I understand that it's a bit counterintuitive, you know, when you work in policy and in the EU bubble. This being said, voila, these are my main points in a nutshell, but I think they are extremely important.
Yeah. And which tools and tactics, Ingrid, because we are going to go deeper into this as the month goes by. But which tactics have you found like more, or any specific tactic that you say, for example, having an ambassador program maybe doesn't make sense for a small organization in Brussels, but maybe it does if you have memberships in other countries, or maybe I don't know, like I'm just wondering how this translates into something that maybe we can tell everyone to go and try this year.
So the first thing I would like to say is that sometimes I have failed miserably in that regard, because in the organization I work for, we have internal stakeholders, and these are members. And our members come from everywhere across Europe. And we all know that we have cultural, knowledge, and language boundaries. And that's normal, like it's part of life. And I have failed because I have my French Latin culture, and sometimes you have difficulties to meet the ideas of way of working with other people. This being said, because it's one of the things, again, I believe are most important, we have implemented something very simple. It's to give them a voice. And your internal audience, and I know it's very strange because it's an internal thing that will transform into an external thing, but I want it to be transformed into an external thing to make my internal audience proud. And that's the main point. So every month, for example, I give a voice to a member or someone from the industry I work for. It can be anyone from any country with any background. I don't care if they are CEOs, if they work in factories, if they deliver things. It's not the point. The point is that they're recognized. That would be the first thing. The second thing would be to try to include them when it's relevant. And as in my case, it's relevant, you know, when I need to fact check content, when I need to, sometimes I need data, I would need, you know, something as stupid and simple as a case study, but I do not necessarily have it. But when I ask something, I will always try to use it. So I will not make the promise to use it in the next 5 days, because that would not make sense. But I will use it in the next 6 months, because why would I ask you something and not use it afterwards? It's first of all, it's rude, and then it will never work. And we have this year as well launched a platform really dedicated to our members, also to showcase what we can provide them, what are the advantages of joining us. And it's not always very clear, because you can have an organization which is quite old. For us, it's 30 years. And people, you know, are joining because you should join, because you represent the industry. And it's kind of, let's just do this because we will have access to knowledge. But they still need to get something back. And I think Brett, for instance, then said that you need to get money from it. It's also true with your internal stakeholders. They need to get something from you and understand why they belong there. And finally, and this will be my third point, and something that we will be working on 25 is indeed to find a way, a platform, a system to share this knowledge with them. And because we have so many countries, so many organizations, so many national associations, companies, blah, 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 whether they're SMB or big companies, we have here a room to keep on building networking, keep on sharing crucial data with them.
Perfect. Awesome.
In a nutshell.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We will dig deeper. I promise. All right, let's continue. We will have, I remember, like there will be like a couple more conversations like this, and then the Q&A. So please bear with us. But now we are opening the chapter of social media, right, and digital. And we have Adina with us today. We always love, I mean, we love what they do at Social Insider, but we love more than they are a tech company based in Europe, based in Romania. And so for us, it's in the times that we are living in, that is always a plus. So Adina, please tell us a little bit about this trend that you see in social media. You are opening the chapter of social media. So the floor is yours.
Hi, Sebastian. Hi, everyone. So I think using original research and reports when you have to communicate something is not something new, but we did some analysis in the past across multiple industries, and we noticed that thought leadership is gaining more and more attention. We see that LinkedIn is becoming a primary platform, especially for C-level people, senior people, or yeah, people with higher seniority in different job roles. So keeping this level of seniority, you need to have some reports, you need to have some data to build trust with your audience and have an increased engagement rate on social media. So I think in a world that is saturated with, I don't know, a lot of trends, memes, short form video that it's following the same trend, you need to you need to come up with something new, and usually requires some work. You requires to do some reports or data or some research in your industry to level up the way you communicate and to level up the information that you want to share with your audience. So I think it's require it's required to be to communicate more of this, because it required to communicate more research and report, because social media is saturated with memes and trends, and you need to have some and you need to create some authenticity and create and encourage discussion with your audience. That's why I for us is a main driver in terms of brand awareness and in terms of engagement. And we also notice that when it comes to reach new audience, this type of information attracts new audience. It's in the top of the funnel.
Indeed, we will talk. Thank you so much, Adina. We will talk about like this saturation and boredom of low quality videos, like this, and this mantra about if it is not shorter than 30 seconds, is not good enough, or if it's not. And now, and was that is still, I think it is part of what the environment we consume, the type of things we consume. We see, for example, one of the things that go most viral in the EU bubble are these data visualization reports that the European Parliament's research service does, and everyone shares those with everyone, and you can compare very easily count different countries, and they're like different metrics, and they do a really good job, and I see that becoming a trend because it also shows expertise, authenticity. So more of that definitely, and you yourself with Social Insider, you also do really good, really nice original research and reports that I consume every day to understand what's changing on LinkedIn, what is the most engaging type of content, etc. So really more of that for this year, for sure. Thank you, Adina.
Thank you.
All right, so more things. I think this has been one of the one that I've seen repeated everywhere. We don't have Michael with us today, but still we wanted to give him the space or give or share his own trend, because it's something that really it's happening, and everyone is talking about this. To me, this is an opportunity because I think it will require uh, more professionals and senior teams in the communications department. And I wanted to ask, because of course there are a few trends here, we wanted to summarize them for the purpose of time. Of course, we have LinkedIn, we have X, we have Blue Sky, Mastodon, you will have YouTube, but we wanted to ask you for what is in this social media fragmentation that we are seeing, how you are prioritizing your organization's channels. And so we have put a few channels there. I think there are 10 of them. And what you can do is to rank them from 1, meaning this is the channel that I am using that is more important for my organization, and then 10, the least important. And then we will share with everyone else. Okay, let's see. So in this in this group we have a lot of LinkedIn fans. This is this is a selection bias because we mostly communicate the European Campaign Playbook. We mostly communicate on LinkedIn, so we are of course bringing people who spend a lot of time, more time than I want to admit, on LinkedIn. But X continues being important. Um, Definitely, I think in our trends we talk about alternatives like Blue Sky, but I personally like I still think that a lot of, especially press people in the bubble, are emotionally attached to X because they build their credibility, their audience, and it is a channel that I have to take into account because of the audience in that channel. It's so important. It's so niche. On Blue Sky, I see many people changing, and I also ask this in the community, and they say, "Yeah, we all have a Blue Sky account, but there is really nothing going on." Or like every time you get a like, you feel like the most special person in the world. But YouTube, we will talk about YouTube for sure, more and more time, especially for as video is becoming king. YouTube is the king platform for videos, podcasts. Yeah, I mean Facebook. Who is on Facebook anyway these days? But still, I guess in Eastern Europe, definitely in Romania, Facebook is incredibly popular. Not so much in the EU bubble. Mastodon, so we have a few Mastodon people. Great. Okay. Awesome. So this shows a little bit like the fragmentation in the landscape of social media, and we could spend so much time talking to each specific one of them. But I think if it is important for you, like do check the report. But if it is important for you, it is because your audience is there, because it aligns with your organization values, like someone said at the beginning, and because you are seeing a return on your effort and resources that you're putting in this channel. And linked to the last one, linked to the rise of platforms where long video is king, it comes podcasting, because podcasting, and we could have asked Brett to write this one, but we thought we wanted competition and we wanted a diverse set of views. And to be honest, both Federico and Ariana, they host one of the most popular podcasts, the EU and You, and they authored this trend for us. Nothing more that I would add, just that it, as a communicator, you know that the radio is usually the channel in which retention of the message and the brand ranks the highest, because people are really paying attention to what's being said. There are fewer distractions, and I think this has a spillover to podcasting, because people, especially younger audience in the bubble, they have their podcast on when they commute, when they go to the gym, when they are just chilling. And it's a really important way, and we are seeing more and more podcasts coming in this season. So really interesting trend, podcasting. And the last one, on the social media or the digital wall, this is my own take. And I just wanted to talk about how difficult it is for us to do advertising, paid advertising in social media platforms, how expensive it is becoming for both decisions from the platforms, but also one of the favorite platform that I was using in the past was YouTube, and then just Google decided to stop allowing for political ads in their platform because of they thought they couldn't comply with the new regulation. And together with TikTok, that of course it is a problem by in itself, but it doesn't allow political advertising, even though you could do political advertising. You just had to tweak things, and it was possible, but on paper it wasn't. Meta made it impossible to do pan-European campaigns, and it was becoming very expensive. And now really there is not an ideal place to do political advertising, which is what NGOs and advocacy groups do. There is an alternative out there with programmatic advertising. It is more expensive than the rest of it, but it's one of the few places where I myself find a space for digital political advertising. And when I say political, just understand that now with this new regulation, everything is political. Almost everything is political. So the definition of political has broadened, in my view, by a lot, and in the view of many civil society organizations. A lot of things are now political that before they weren't. So this is my take. But I wanted to close and then give the space for Q&A. But I wanted to close with AI, which again is not everyone is as hyped as I and Giovanni and Jesus Azogue, who also co-authors this section, is on AI, but it definitely deserves a space in our report. Giovanni can tell us more about it, and please, you have the floor.
Hello, thank you, Sebastian. Hello, everybody. I am Giovanni. I am the manager of public relations at Senelec. And I must say that for this trend, I might have been heavily influenced by Sebastian, but I won't confirm nor deny that. But now, basically, my observation here is based on the realization that I think in 2023, AI tools arrived to the public with ChatGPT, and then 2024 has been a year in which I think everybody in all industries has started to play with them, to discover them, to use them and embed them in their work. I think the trend is, to me, looks pretty clear now that in 2025, finally these tools are there to stay. There's ChatGPT, but of course there are many others. There are also tools for that can do very specific things, but they're here to stay. And then, so we as policy communicators, as public relations professionals, need to be aware of them, need to be able to use and understand them, which this doesn't mean being totally enthusiastic about them or being totally like use them for everything, but instead be aware of where they can help us, where they create issues, and being able to recognize them around us. This is because a lot of people will use them in our industry and abroad, and outside of our industry. And so this might be, some of them might have a competitive advantage in using them. So we don't want to be left behind. So basically, I think that these AI tools mean for our profession that we have to move in order to stay relevant towards a more strategic approach and a more strategic thinking. First of all, because as I already mentioned, it's important to get to know them, to get skilled about them, to to understand in our profession how we can use them as tools. And second of all, because as those of you who have already used, for example, ChatGPT or Claude have seen, some of these tools are pretty good at doing some basic repetitive work or some reporting, at helping editing. So with the assumption that they might be improving in their in what they do. I think this will give us the possibility to reduce the amount of operational work we do, of really technical activities, editing, and etc., and allow us to focus more on the strategic aspect of our work as policy preparation professionals. This is also a must in the sense that you also need to be able to govern these tools, as I said, to understand. So ideally, if I want to be optimistic about that, and optimistic about our work, there is I personally see a big opportunity for us to become to be closer to the executives of the company, to be able to translate and understand the big trends, the big strategies of the companies, and then use these tools to implement ideas at the granular level and operational level. So this is a bit my take, I think.
Yeah, indeed. I really think we are like a phase. No, now there was a time where everyone started to use these tools, and there was the excitement, the thrill, and now more and more people, as people start to notice, then you don't want to be, you want to be associated with, okay, I am using these tools for strategic thinking, not for, writing emails or writing posts on social media, etc. And if you know how, we had a very interesting workshop yesterday with Giovanni, like you can really improve your productivity. But like we always say, these technologies, they are really good for productivity, but they do not replace human expertise, or do not replace the information you get when you have a coffee with a decision maker, where what you hear in the corridors, like the feelings, the environment, it's not going to replace the professionalism, and definitely not the ethical decision making of the policy communication or professional, but they will boost their productivity at a really, an amazing level. So we see more and more of that. Thank you so much, Giovanni, for this.
Thank you.
And with that, we are closing the presentation of the 3 trends, of the 10 trends, not 3. I will put them again here for everyone to see. And now what I would like to do is to open the floor to the very good people who have joined us for this hour, and who have been patiently waiting for this moment, and also have been engaging on Slido, to share your take, ask a question to anyone any one of the speakers, or just use this space to share your expertise. You can do that with Slido. Again, we can do this here, or we are a smaller group now. You can also raise your hand and we will just have a chat. What about that? Let's do that, actually. So if anyone wants to raise the hand and take the floor, please, now it is the moment. Clara, please.
Hi, I'm curious about the trend with YouTube and Twitch, especially on Twitch, because I work for this Association of Bioenergy Industries doing advocacy for the EU, and I have heard other companies and politicians using Twitch, but I am unsure how we could do this from our organization. So I don't know if you have any experience or examples on that.
I don't want to point fingers, but I think I am looking at whether if Brett is ready to jump in, or maybe I even see Philip, who has. I'm pretty sure you have experience. I've seen your podcast, your long video podcast that you do at the Embryonic Center. So maybe it's a good opportunity for you to answer that. What about that?
I thought this was your event, Sebastian, that you're supposed to answer all the questions.
Oh, no, not at all.
E-
Please,
e-
no, go
uh,
ahead, Flip.
Easy. So the question is about podcast as a channel. Do I understand it
Mhm.
correctly?
And YouTube, a combination with YouTube and content,
I,
long video content on YouTube.
I can only speak on
Sorry, I was actually specifically asking about Twitch.
Twitch. Okay. In that case, I'll have to leave that answer to somebody else because we have not done anything on that platform. So
Okay, so sorry, Clara. So on that on Twitch, we had a conversation with Quentin from the account MEP Assistant. You probably know him, and so I mean, this is quite a niche, really niche audience that is. It has its own customs and its own ways of proceeding. Like we could do a whole event, and we actually did one with him. I will send you the recording of that event, and I will definitely encourage you to put in contact. But the thing,
Thank you.
like what he had seen also in the space of France, it became a thing politically. I think during the first term of Macron, where he engaged with some of the political, like more politically active Twitch. But the whole thing with Twitch is, there are broadcasts that are that can take as long as 3 hours, and where the audience sort of chooses what you're going to be doing. So you probably are working, you're playing a game about diplomacy, and then people are watching you play that game, and then you make stops to talk about specific issues or bring guests, etc. So this is also following the the unusual, or not the unusual, but the surprising trend that is coming, that is happening also in other broadcasting platforms like YouTube. You have shows like Joe Rogan. The Joe Rogan Experience is the largest media outlet in terms of viewers in the United States, and it is a guy sitting around a table and having conversations that on average are 2 hours and a half, and they can go from politics to vaccines to hunting to jujitsu. Like, it's so random. But the whole thing is, if you're doing this type of long video in a context more political, more for policy communications, of course, quality of the content is key, and letting the audience and having an obsession with the what the audience want, and putting the audience sort of in the center of what they want to watch, and then tailoring the content accordingly. So it's a very interesting and a very niche place, but definitely where you can tap into it for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and thank you for the for that slight confusion, and for throwing Philip under the bus. And anyone else want to jump in now with any other question, comment, something that you want to share with the rest of us? We have a big crowd today, so do feel free to use this. Okay, we have a question in the chat. Okay, let's do questions in the chat. We have Thomas. What is it? Thomas, who is Thomas from WikiRate, open data platform, tracking companies, sustainability, performance in line with CSRD. My question is, how can smaller NGOs ensure content quality? Bigger lobby groups have more money, not NGOs. For example, making a podcast is time intensive. How can an NGO produce this kind of content? Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting, Thomas. And one of the good things about the age that we are living in, and 2025, is that it doesn't require a lot of time. A lot of resources. If we go back to our guys from EU&U podcast, they are not even a civil society organization or a NGO. They are like a group of friends. I think they are like, maybe they had been growing, but they started, a couple of them, and usually with a phone and a good mic, with a budget for well under 100 euros, you have the setting, using tools like, for example, AI to help you research about the topics, help you become, even help you search for guests, and help you have these moments that then go viral. You have a chat, you can record something for 1 hour, but then you can also engineer the part, like the 1 minute that you're gonna put on Instagram and it's gonna fly. And I think that's a beautiful thing, Thomas, about the age that we're living in, that now smaller organizations, if they are smart, they can compete with the big ones. Mm. John is talking about influencers. Is this an overlooked possibility? We consider having influencers, and we were trying to look for someone who had genuinely used influencers, and that the impact was positive. So all those things together, and we didn't find any. I think influencers, or like content creators, however they are called now under the new regulation, um, it's a little bit like a black box. Like, I think there is something there, definitely, but you never know whether these influencers, they are carrying the message that you want to say, or are turning people into or moving people into your channels as much as other alternatives. They are becoming more expensive. I think they are becoming more professionalized, and that, I think, forces everyone to think about influencers in a more careful way, because now everyone is an influencer, right? And everyone has a channel and um, has a place, no? Has a place, has an audience. So if you know, John, someone who has done this, and that their results were good in terms of, it was good to do this in comparison with something else, especially for cash-strapped organizations in Brussels. I think this is important. I think we have seen this in institutions, but I think they have more money to spend, and they are doing this with more or less success. But for organizations who are trying to influence, I haven't found any. So any example, happy to take it on board and cover it in any way. Try to get those best practices in. Philip.
Yeah, perhaps I can share an example where we used influencers for one of our campaigns, and actually, perhaps also the how it turned out. So it was a grassroots campaign for a fairly large NGO, and the campaign was about specific policy issue and an upcoming vote in the committee in the parliament, and their aim was to communicate with MEPs from one of the member states. And before communicating with these MEPs, they wanted to run a grassroots campaign in this member state to collect signatures for their petition, which they wanted to present to these MEPs. And we designed the landing page. People were able to sign the petition online, and then we explored different channels, tested different channels in terms of how to get through to these people. Obviously, most of our campaigns are Brussels-based, and we had very little experience working in this particular member state. So we tried various channels. First of all, we tried with the local office of this NGO. This was one channel. The other channel was organic social. The third channel was advertising. And then the fourth channel, which sort of came at the end, because the first three didn't really work, is we tried influencers around this particular topic connected to environment. And at all these channels, the influencers by far outperformed anything else. And I would say, let's say out of the 100 signatures, it was more, but let's say out of the 100 signatures, 90 would come from the 3 or 4 influences which we engaged. And the most beautiful thing was that these influencers actually identified with the cause, and it cost zero. So basically, we provide them with the content and with the information they needed to share, and they were happy to share this. Obviously, the biggest amount of work was to identify these people and then contact them. But in terms of the effectiveness, it was by far most effective channel that we used in this campaign.
So interesting, Philip. Thank you so much for sharing that. And probably we can tap into that and share, like we can document it and happy to share it with more people in the community. And because I think it is a real question for everyone, and exactly how to do it right. I think it would be like you would think if you follow the US election, you would think Kamala would have won by far, right? Because she had Bad Bunny, she had Taylor Swift. So how influencers actually translate into influence? No. Um, I think, of course, it's a different story, but I think that is something that if last year told us that probably is not a given. And so if there are ways to find a trick, then definitely let's explore it.
Or we can conclude that Joe Rogan is more influential than Taylor Swift.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, indeed. No, it depends which when you look at it. Definitely. That's why I love to have you in our sessions. All right. So I think time is up. Um, uh, I think we remain available in this community, especially myself, to continue the conversation over a coffee online, and then continue sharing more things. But now it is the time to put an end to this lunch and learn that usually runs for 1 hour whilst we have lunch, because that's something we have to do, however busy we are. And just to say thank you to everyone. Feel free to reach out personally. Those are my direct ways of contacting me. And let's continue the conversation. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much.